I started in fandom as a cosplayer in 1998. I still cosplay, but in 2009 I made the jump officially over to the anime industry when I became a brand manager at Funimation. Before that, I owned a cosplay-related business, just to give you a quick backstory. And I'm here with Christina V.
Oh, I have a question. Did you change from Funimation? Okay, I'm sure somebody else is going to ask this, but you changed from Funimation to Viz?
Yes.
Does that mean that you live in San Francisco?
Yes, I moved to San Francisco last February.
Nice. Can we get these mics louder, please? And maybe close the doors. Yeah. And my name is Christina V. I'm a voiceover actress. That's what I do primarily. But I've also been really active in doing charity work with the community, and I marketed for Bandai Entertainment, and I've also hosted various tournaments for League of Legends, and I'm a director too, so I've had my hand in different facets of the anime community throughout the years. And I also started off as a band. I wanted to be a voice actor because I loved anime, primarily Sailor Moon. And that's what led me to pursue acting and voiceover.
So when did you make your first professional debut as a voice actress?
I think it was in 2005. But it was for really small parts like Walla. And it took a long time actually to get an actual role. Because like I said, I was very green. And so it took a few years for me to not only mature as a person, but as an actor, and to be able to, compete against all the very established voiceover actors for the roles of characters that have bigger parts and stuff. So I very much started at the very bottom and kind of went up from there very slowly.
Walla is the term for, it's essentially other voices in the credits. So it's little stuff like office worker B, cab driver C, stuff like that.
And even just like those group crowd scenes where you hear people screaming or just things like that.
Yeah. So that all needs to be voiceover too. So this is mostly like tales of experience and questions. We know a lot of people who come from fandom, they would really like to be a part of the anime industry. And the great news about it is, while some of us are blessed with very beautiful voices, like Christina, and voice acting is her calling, there's many, many, many things you can do in anime and manga that don't necessarily involve voice acting, directing, or anything like that. Every company needs everything from accountants, marketing people, licensing people, TV people, production workers, people who work with the video, even with ingest and all of that stuff. So just about anything that a business needs, the anime industry needs that as well. So it's essentially in front of or behind the camera type of stuff.
And actually, I'm very interested to hear more of your stories because I feel like even though I have done some other things, I feel like you definitely have more experience behind the scenes and you know more about how things work. And whereas I'm the last to know with voice acting and even, the marketing materials is that they put it all together and they say, who do we want to be Haruhi for this campaign? Oh, Christina, and then they give me a script. So even though I have had my experience doing other things, I feel like I don't really know how everything works with like licensing and marketing and things like that.
Well, anime starts off a long time before anybody even knows it's going to be a thing. So a lot of times when anime is purchased for overseas exploitation or even within Japan, just like modern TV shows, everything gets pitched. And it's usually, a director, staff, a couple key art pictures, not always in color. And what they try to do is form consortiums. If it's based on a manga, it involves the mangaka. If it's based on a light novel, it involves the author, usually the publisher, whoever wants to pay the expenses for footing the bill for the animation, which agencies the voice actors are going to come from. So all those things, they get pitched. And by the time the show's first season is decided, then they start pitching them internationally. And it's becoming a process that is sooner and sooner. It used to be way back in the day you'd be able to watch a couple episodes before companies have to go bid on a title. Now sometimes titles are bid on before they're even announced in Japan. So, and that's something that's one of the things as being a fan, you have to really tap the brakes on, and sometimes you're internally squeeing on stuff that you know you're going to be working on, and you're not allowed to squee about it for 6 months to a year.
Yes, or even longer sometimes. That's when having a confidant such as Smeargle comes into play. This is very crucial to being a fan in the industry. You take it all out on your plush because you really can't talk about these things. Not only, there's so many people behind the marketing that they know what they're doing. They know when they want things to be announced. So if you're a voice actor and you say a title before it's announced, or maybe they didn't want people to know who's in it yet. Not only can you get in lots of trouble, it really is kind of damaging to your career. So that's why I'm so glad to have somebody like Smeargle in my life, where I can say, hey, guess what? I got cast in this really cool thing, and I can't tell anybody but you, my friend.
Well, there's
our dog works too.
Actually, that's a very interesting aspect of the marketing, because everyone, marketing is a creative part of business. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of analysis, everything. But of the different parts of business, I'd say marketing is probably the most creative. And my personal style is a whole lot of sparkling, dazzling. I like to save everything up for a big, big splash. That's my personal style. And when it comes to voice actors, U.S. voice casts are absolutely treasured. Way long gone are the days where a dub would be questionable and it'd be just some people showing up to do a quick gig when they really want to just do on-camera work. People who do voice actor work, they study, they work really hard, they refine their voices, and they audition very, very competitively for their roles. And acting is very much a world of projection. You get worked up, and you really, really want a part, and you finally get it. You just want to tell the world.
Yeah.
But the way me personally, I'm just sure, I'm just one out of many. I like to do big, grandiose things and just hope, okay, guys, just cool your jets for just a little bit, because there's going to be so much press when you're revealed. It's going to be just huge. One time, I think one of the best times I've seen this executed was, it was not by me, it was by my marketing senpai, who used to be at Funimation. And he did a very, very secret, covert thing, and I hope to be able to recreate it someday. It was at Anime Expo 2008. He had brought a bunch of voice actors out that were known for various high-end roles, and had them come out and do autograph sessions, and it was this whole thing. Funimation was going to bring out a bunch of voice actors. And then there came a panel. It was called the Oran High School Host Club panel, and there was no news about it at all. And it hid all of his voice actors backstage and brought them up one by one, and he put the Oran jacket on them like it was the Masters tournament. They brought the host club up one by one, and then the director, who was Haruhi, and this was the 3,000 person room, and it just the crowd goes wild. It was crazy, but he didn't stop there. He said, okay, in 2 hours, meet us at the booth, where they had recreated the host club scene, and brought all the voice actors there to sit at the tables, sign autographs, and actually host fans. So that was, that was really, really hard for everyone to keep secret, because everyone was so excited. They're like, I want to wear my jacket, I want to wear my jacket. But that's one of those things that, just seeing people so happy, and I think that really helped take Oran to the next level, because I'm all about, I want to give people really cherished fandom experiences. I wasn't able to do an at-convention reveal, but I did an event at Otakon where I brought out almost every single one of the main voice actors for Hetalia. And
I remember that year.
It was crazy.
Big buzz, yeah.
It was crazy. It was rainbows and sparkles everywhere, and it's one of those, for me, when I launch a title, I don't want to have any regrets. I want to have a big, colorful event. I want to do something. I want to get them on film. I want all the voice actors to have fun. I want all the voice actors to see how much the fans love them and the roles. And it was, that's just my style. That's I know some other people are they don't care, or they have other plans. They all have their own secret sauce, but I'm all about the razzle-dazzle. Because a cosplayer, I love the stage. I love events. Like I come from a stage manager background as well. Like before I started the cosplay wig business, I worked at the Venetian for 5 years doing wardrobe and just talent management and stage management. So I know actors really love the stage, and I tried to give them like that little like on stage live action in front of camera element. Because sometimes I know, like, you can be in the booth, and, like, I've heard about the booth crazies.
Booth crazies.
Yeah, like, when I have voice actors, like, sitting in a booth for 8 hours, and they're, like, in, like, one of those little, like, whisper rooms, and they're, like, start to go crazy.
Yeah, see, because in California, we can't do over 4 hours a session. So, and even then, like, an hour 3, I'm like, la 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 la, just talking to myself, and that's when, like, words start coming out jumbled, so for 8 hours... I can imagine booth crazies happening.
And then you get like the best commentary and outtakes. Like highly recommend Hitalia movie, Patrick's Outtakes. He goes to another dimension. he goes to a special place and he starts talking about eating cats and oh my gosh. And it's really funny. And I love that guy, and he's just like, I was not aware, and it's still one of the things that he likes the best. But it's as far as the fandom goes, it's really being on the marketing end. The biggest thing I have to remember is don't fall in love, because shows will break your heart. Like, because pretty much everybody bids on everything these days. It's pretty much everything. And you're looking at all the materials, and you're coming up with all these plans in your head, and like, oh wow, this is going to be a great show. We can do this and this and this and this, and you never know until the last minute what you're actually going to be working on. And there's been shows that I've fallen in love with, and it was just nope.
Yeah, that sounds so familiar to voice acting, because when you audition for a role, after the audition, you try not to think about it, but then you're kind of imagining, like, man, if I'm Asuna and Sword Art Online, all these great things would happen. My life's going to be awesome. And then you don't get the role, and you're like, I didn't get the role. So it's very important to remember, to just kind of, it takes years of practice, but it's kind of, auditioning or just hoping in the moment that you are that character, and then you just kind of let it go, and it becomes easier. Let it go. Let it go.
Yes, it's like such a... gosh, we've been playing it on repeat, my marketing associate Amy and I, and she is great. She is amazing. She's all like, let's play Disney songs and work today.
I play that on repeat, except I'm singing it in the shower over and over again.
Yeah. At Viz, we have a very modern open office, and no one has a door but the CEO. So we're all like, anytime we start singing, like, Shar, could you keep it down? Like, nope, cat videos. Nope. Cat videos are very important. But yeah, it takes kind of a stillness of being there's a difference between being a fan and being fan-ish. It's like, can you turn it off? And I think I kind of equate it to like my time working in wardrobe in Vegas. Sometimes I do fashion shows, and I would be the star dresser. So I would be, helping dress the celebrity of the fashion show. And so you see the celebrities like in their spanky pants, and some of them are very hot men. And can you do that and not freak out? That becomes a question. Like, can you meet when you're working professionally? Can you meet a director, a creator, a staff member, and just like not lose it?
I think it's especially harder when you're younger, especially until you hit your mid-20s. Especially if you haven't met anybody else like that before. But what I've noticed is the more you meet people who are famous or who have stature, and the more you see that they're just human like you, and they have the same problems, and you stop putting them on that pedestal, and then it just turns into a kind of respect. But a quiet admiration is what I think you should definitely aim for.
Yeah, and people really appreciate that ability to, I guess, be normal, let it go, just for a little bit. Because, like, sometimes, I feel bad for some of the people that are super duper famous. I used to see them all the time when I worked in Vegas, that they can't go anywhere, they can't do anything, they can't look at a shop without being scrutinized or whatever. And like, could you imagine all of your guilty pleasures just being out on display and like not having any escape? So I think having an ability to just be calm and that silent, helpful respect.
Yeah.
But that said, one thing I have learned working in the industry and working with a lot of licensors and people from Japan, they're just as nerdy as we are. Yep. Like, I have gotten into like a fight over dinner with licensors in broken English and equally broken Japanese about which Gundam is the best. And sometimes they only... So my name is Charlene Ingram, and it's very hard to pronounce. Like, just Charlene is very hard to pronounce. So sometimes I have to resort to Gundam Patlabor. Gundam Patlabor. And I'm like, oh, sure. So, but they're like, okay. Yeah. So they get, I mean, they're just as like nerdy and passionate as we are, and it's you get this, idealistic image of all like your licensors, and they show up in suits, and they're all very serious contracts. Everything has to be just so. And then you just see them like crack up at like a little inappropriate joke. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're human. Yeah. So what cool stories do you have about making the jump? Because I'm sure if you're anything like me, there was like a little awkward part at the beginning where people were seeing you as a fan and not quite as a professional.
Yes, and that was actually one of the big hurdles that I had to overcome, is because so many of the older voiceover actors, they didn't have anime when they were kids, when they were growing up, whereas the newer generation did. And so I loved it, and that was actually my goal, is to be a voice actor, which is kind of not a very common thing. So it did take a lot of... I don't want to say convincing because I'm like, I'm normal, but I mean, not that anime fans aren't normal, but you know what I mean. I'm one of you, that's what I meant.
Sometimes you find that people put their walls up.
Yes, they do. They put their walls up, and the way that I overcame that was being good at what I do. Again, being professional when they see that I don't, that I'm not fangirling over them, when you can talk to them as human beings, and just... over time, and with age too, I think that they realized, a lot of the people who were skeptical, that this wasn't something fleeting, that I'm a serious actor, that I've been working at this for 10 years already or more. So a lot of things that feel like it's difficult to get through, sometimes it just takes time and experience. And so just try to be patient with yourself.
Yeah, I do find coming from fandom is, especially at first, you just have to, work a little bit harder, be a little bit smarter, try a little bit more. It's worth it because you'll actually build up your skills in a quicker amount of time.
Yeah.
And I had, similarly, when I had started in this, like, I was being a cosplayer, being Tristan Citrine, coming into, like, work professionally in an office, everyone has seen all your cosplay pictures. And they see your over-the-top persona, they see all the characters you've dressed as, and there's hesitance to let you work on a show that you cosplayed from, because they feel like you might put too much of yourself in it, and I had to prove myself. I started with some, shows that weren't, the most popular. They were great shows, but they weren't huge, chart toppers. Like, I had to do multiple years of really proving it and trying extra hard, and still sometimes licensors will find my cutie honey picture. And that's always great dinner conversation, but I just own it, and I'm just like, dude, if you could, you would dress like this too. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's all in how you react. Like, I'm not at all ashamed of being a cosplayer. I still cosplay. I don't cosplay when there's a chance that I might have to meet with a licensor, because that would be awkward.
Yeah, it's a big thing at conventions too. When you're meeting, especially when you're meeting people for the first time. One tip that I have, and this is slowly changing, because I know that a lot of professionals now, like Charlene and like a bunch of the new voice actors, do come from a fan background. But it's very important to take care of the way that you look, to look clean and professional, and I find that even though it kind of sounds a little superficial, but if people see that you take care of yourself and you put effort into the way that you look, then they'll treat you accordingly. They'll treat you with care.
And to work really hard. So I think I have a good story about a voice actress who I respect greatly. And it's not necessarily because of her voice acting. It's because of how hard of a worker she is and how she started. So are any of you familiar with Alexis Tipton? She does a lot of voice acting. She was a marketing intern at Funimation. So she worked with me as a marketing intern, and she learned all kinds of stuff about marketing. She learned about running reports, doing spreadsheets. Always very nice, very helpful. And whenever she could, she'd hop over to the other side and do a little bit of walla. It was always just hey, I'm going to go do a little bit of walla. But she was working really, really, really hard on her drama and taking roles wherever she could, and just a super duper hard worker. Amazingly awesome work ethic. And then after her time as an intern was over, it was fun seeing her, pick up more and more roles and coming back over to the marketing side of the building and just being so happy and seeing her just grow as an actress and grow as a person. I love seeing that, and you're right. There's so many voice actors that are coming out of a place of knowing anime and manga, and they come and they try really hard, and not everybody gets roles, or not everyone is content to do a few years of walla.
Yeah.
Because they test you out on many things. Do you have the chops? Can you do it? Can you be a vocal Viking? Are you okay with doing walla for a couple of years? Are you okay with just coming in and doing those extra voices? Do you get discouraged?
That reminds me of Christine Cabanos, who's Madoka in Madoka Magica. She started off doing an internship at Bang Zoom, and then she was hired by Bang Zoom, so she worked there. But she really wanted to be a voice actor, and she knew that's the path that she wanted to take. And she was really timid when I first met her, and now she's really grown, and she takes the incentive. But it took her a little pushing to say, you need to talk to the casting director, you need to talk to your boss and tell him that you really want to do voice acting. And so once she did that, they said, okay, here, audition for this. And she auditioned for, I don't know, I think it was actually Madoka was her first, no, Azusa and K-On! Was her first, the first thing they let her audition for.
She did Oblivion Island too.
Yes, she did Oblivion Island, and those are Azusa and Oblivion Island and Madoka. She booked all those things. Once she got, and she did the walla thing too. She went in and she did walla in between, filled in voices, and that's another story of somebody who really used her opportunities, and she found her through working hard someplace else, but in the same industry. So it's really great.
But I find that a lot of the voice actors, a lot of them have a really, really strong business acumen, and they're really fun and exciting to work with. And a surprisingly large amount of them come from marketing. Did you know J. Michael Tatum used to be a brand manager? Not at Funimation, it's something completely different.
Wow.
But yeah, he is a brilliant, brilliant marketer. I think he's a fabulous voice actor, wonderful person, probably the best read gentleman I've met in my life. If you ever meet him, talk to him about literature, it'll blow your mind. But yeah, everybody comes from a different place, and I know for a lot of people, for voice acting especially, it's very hard to book 40 hours in a week, so you have to plan things around. I mean, for me, I guess it's kind of easy that I have a 9-to-5 desk job that's really more an 8 to 7, but I mean, fandom, this is going to sound really cheesy, but fandom and cosplay is the thing that brought me out of my shell. And I was very, 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 very shy, very reserved before that. But cosplay, made me confident in who I am, and being, doing what I do now is kind of my way to give back to it and bring anime to more new people and tell people how awesome it is, because there's no other medium that really expresses fantasy like animation can.
So that's really the reason why, if you love something like cosplay and anime, you don't have to be ashamed of it. Because I know that's a problem that some people have, is that they kind of hide it in the outside world. But the truth is, just because somebody doesn't understand it yet, actually, because that is slowly changing, I feel like our stories are so similar because I was really shy. I was very shy. You could not get me to say more than a few words. And I started doing voice acting, and then even starting to go to conventions and to meet a lot of people and to talk in front of people. That was something that terrified me before. But yeah, it's really because of anime and manga and video games that my life really changed for the better.
Yeah, and I used to, when I was in middle school and high school, I used to play so many RPGs by myself. And I was kind of a sickly middle schooler. So, and this is also going to show my age a little bit, but I beat 7th Saga in all ways, and that's a notoriously very long dungeon crawler. And every single Final Fantasy game, and it was mostly, alone, quiet, reserved. Except for the few times I'd be on stage, I was also a musician, so I would do that. But between that and cosplay is a way of forcing you out of your shell. Because you can't, you're going to get your picture taken. People are going to come up and talk to you. And people, if you're wearing a costume of a show, people already know, oh, hey, you like that. I would, wear a Sailor Moon costume, Sailor Venus usually. And people are like, oh my gosh, you like Sailor Venus? And they would come and talk to you about that. And you would instantly make friends. It's like wearing a big sign that says, I like things. Do you like things? Come talk to me about things.
I actually started cosplaying when I was 12. Do you guys know Digi-Carrot?
Yeah.
I was Degico. I had this huge... Anyways, that happened. Yeah, let's see what else I did. I was Yuki from Fruits Basket.
Oh, yeah.
And, let's see. I can't really remember too many of the cosplay I did. I did, okay, not saying I saw the series or anything, but when I turned 18, I was like, I'm going to cosplay Bible Black, because I can. And so I did, and it was a really cute school uniform. I mean, it's nothing, it's not revealing or anything. I just thought it was
a cute uniform.
Really cute. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how those H games get you. They have the cutest school uniforms.
Yeah, because they're I don't know, it's cute. Okay.
And then you look at it later, and you're like, oh, okay.
I'm 18. I'm cool.
Do what I want.
I'll do what I want. Yeah, so that happened. Yeah, and then because I did have a cosplaying background, some of the companies, well, Bandai in particular, they wanted me to dress up as my characters, and that's how the K-On! Concerts happened. When we were doing the show K-On!, which is about a group of schoolgirl musicians, they asked us to, they got all the voice actors together, and we went to convention performing the songs in Japanese, and we had the full school uniform on. And in Tekken 2, Blood Vengeance, at the end session, they didn't ask me this before. They said, hey, Christina, can you go? Christine's going to measure you for your cosplay. I was like, yeah. And I had the best Alyssa Blaskmanovich cosplay ever. And we have a question. So, yeah. Yes.
Weren't you also the live-action Haruhi from season 2?
Yes, and I was a live-action Haruhi Suzumiya. I took over for Patricia Jolie. And how I got that job was the president of Bandai liked surfing YouTube videos, and he liked my Haruhi Suzumiya fandom of the songs. And so, that was the reason why, he told me that's the reason why they dubbed the songs into English. And 2, he wanted me to be the voice of Haruhi Suzumiya in one of the episodes of The Endless Eight. But in the end, that plan Japan said, no, we don't want to change the voices, we don't want to make it comedic, just do it the way it was in Japanese. And so he's like, all right, we can't do that, but can you be our Haruhi Suzumiya live action? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point you make about English versions of songs. Anytime you hear one, realize how hard won it is.
Yeah. Yes.
Because everything is scrutinized. Cast, lyrics, translation. It involves being on the phone with Japan so much to explain the nuance and why, okay, pop songs are expected to rhyme. This doesn't necessarily rhyme, the direct translation. And it seems like every single syllable has to be fought for.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you about K-On! Guys. They wanted so badly to dub the songs into English. That's one of the reasons why they cast me as Mio, was because they liked my singing. And they couldn't do it because these songs are treasure to these guys. You know, Cam was so popular.
And music companies.
And the music company, and they're just like, they tried, guys. That's all I can say, is they fought every step of the way to get those songs dubbed. And in the end, we ended up doing a couple of songs, but they were in the DVD extras only. I think we only did like 3. But yeah, they wouldn't even let us do it live in English. We had to sing them in Japanese.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's not necessarily, you know, out of any spite or anything. It's just when you bring more bureaucracies into something, when you bring more people into the meeting, there's more people who can say no. And you really have to, be passionate about it and fight every single thing. And I mean, I don't say fight in like, you know, a bad, aggressive way. You just need to go like, look, this is, you know, people have an expectation if you're watching it in a language. They don't want it to like switch to another language. You don't want to take them out of the experience. But then you have your original composers that you have to, you know, respect. And there's also music royalties that have to be paid on everything to the original author in Japan. It's usually a separate line item in contracts.
That just reminds me of what we're talking about, Don't Fall in Love. Because there are so many people that come into play, it's all very relative. For example, I'm doing this show right now for Disney. It's not playing in the U.S., but it's playing like in Australia, Africa, all of Britain. And I'm the lead character in the show, and she's a singer. And so I was cast as both the singing and speaking voice for this character. And this was audition after audition. And we recorded the first like 5 songs, and everybody loved them. They thought it was great. We're moving on with the project. And then they brought somebody else into it, and he was like, you know what, no, we're going to recast the main characters. Basically, every one of the main characters was recast, and it was heartbreaking. But it's like what you said, you have to learn how to take no, and that it's not a personal thing. It's just very, almost luck of the draw. You just have to do your best in everything, and you know, things are going to work out, some things aren't going to work out, and that's a very important lesson to learn.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, not to break any hearts or anything, but when you get those wins, oh my God, they're a high. Mm-hmm. And when you get something that you really love and other people love it too, it becomes absolutely amazing.
It's worth it.
I remember very distinctly because I watch a lot of screeners. You know, I used to at Funimation, and I still do for Viz. You know, I watch a little bit of everything because as a marketer, it's my responsibility to know the entire anime space, not just what I'm working on. Because if you just focus on the one thing you're assigned, that's the quickest way to become irrelevant, and you can't do that. So you watch everything. And I was watching some screeners. It was several years ago, and came across like a little film that was just like in the pile of screeners, and I decided to watch it. It was a little film called Summer Wars.
Oh.
Yeah. And I watched it, and I was like, hey guys, there's something to this one. And I watched it again. Like, I normally don't watch a screener twice, I watched it again. And I was like, oh hey, you know, whatever. It actually, you know, came to pass, and then I got to work on it. And I got to work really closely with the director and the cast and the script writer, and like the whole thing came together. And to make Summer Wars happen required an extremely quick turnaround. And it was just like, and from that, and then it was like getting film festivals to even give it a chance and take it. Because it was just another animated movie. And it was just like, oh, there's a million of these, it's not Disney. And getting a theatrical partner to work with it. Getting people to show up to the theaters, getting people to go to the film festivals, like getting any review, like I'm cashing in all types of favors. It's like, please review this, just give it a chance. And watching it just build and build and build as a part of the movement, like even working on the trailer with the whole trailer team, like saying like, okay, we need like a real like theatrical style trailer, and like just every piece coming together. It very much mirrored the movie. And just like the launch of it just became, it became like this magical, like legend type thing. And so like, a few weeks ago, Cartoon Network, you know, finally decided to air it on TV. Like the show that was never going to go on TV. And to see it finally go, and to see it still sell well, and to see people going like, oh wow, I really love that movie. Like that was, like, those are the things that I'm proud of. Like seeing good art get exposed to people. Like that's the whole point of anime. Like you want to see really good art get exposed to people. So in that way, Summer Wars might be one of the things I'm the most proud of, because it was definitely one of the hardest, especially when you're dealing with film critics and getting things considered for the Academy Award. Like, they're not, Hollywood's not necessarily nice, and they get like hundreds of screeners, and they're like, I don't know if I want to watch this. Just, a lot of people, made it happen. And it wasn't like just me watching the screen or anything. There was like a whole lot of people involved. But that was the one where I consciously tapped the brakes to not fall in love, and then was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Summer Wars, definitely see it. All the Mamoru Hosoda films are beautiful.
Do you think we should take some questions?
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Yes.
Just wondering, how do you feel about people who branched off into their own voice acting on YouTube, like abridging things?
Abridging.
Like the Abridged series where they cut things and
Yeah.
make it their own.
Yeah, where they kind of parody a show. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because on one hand, they're really funny and they're works of art in themselves, and it can bring a lot of attention to the show and increase sales. But on the other hand, it's kind of on that precarious line between being kind of illegal and it's a very difficult situation, I think, especially when it concerns Japanese animation, because it's so highly guarded, and it's very expensive to produce.
And it can be a little hard to explain the cultural difference. That, like, America's brand of parody is a little bit different from overseas. And we, Americans as a whole, kind of make fun of everything, including themselves. Like, all the time. And, it's hilarious, it's lighthearted fun. It's never malicious, never, never hurting. But trying to explain that, and then, ultimately, like, from my end, it comes down to what the, original author, original rights holder thinks. And, what shows them respect and how they want to be respected. Because a lot of these, all these anime shows, they come over here, they're we just kind of rent them. They're no one's property. There's no one's intellectual property here. It belongs to those creators, and respect is all about perception, and it's how they want to be respected. And we can try to explain. I've had many, many occasions where I've had to explain an American idiom, an inside joke, or something absolutely foul to someone in Japan. With like a straight face, very professional, like, okay, especially like a lot of the jokes in panty and stocking require some explanation. But it was all in offense. Like, okay, this is funny because this is this is offensive because, and the panty and stocking is a good example, because the things that got beeped in the Japanese version are not the things that would get beeped in the U.S. version. It's but it's fun that way. So I had a huge amount of fun working on that, partially because it was all girls in charge. So it was a girl scriptwriter, it was a girl director, a girl in marketing. So like, we can be dirty too.
That being said, I'm friends with Little Karibo, Martin Bellany. I went to his wedding. I've known his wife for years, and he is such a great guy. He is pure gold, and he's actually, he did his abridging thing, but he's actively pursuing to become a voice-over actor and do his own original things, which is awesome, and he's having some success in it. So that's really great to see.
That is something to note, that computerized animation, technology, techniques have really, like, the line between, professional and amateur is consistently getting blurred, and people can do their own thing, and they don't necessarily need a traditional deal to make it happen. I mean, look at Cartoon Hangover. They're doing what they want, and they're having a lot of success at it. So it's, don't feel like there's any one path to get to how you want, because I don't think of anybody in the industry that took what you would see as a traditional path of, like, I went to drama school and I did this and this and this, and then
Suddenly actor.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
No, everybody I know has a different story. It's really great. I saw another hand.
You sir.
Well, I actually saw a parody show in Japan, and when they do, it seems like when they do parody shows, they like completely changed like the animation. They didn't because they, I guess they feel like it's not something to do.
It usually comes down to approvals.
Yeah.
Because you have to get okays from everyone. Like the amount of yeses you need in general to proceed are just huge. Like the emails with licensors have so many CCs on them. Like there's like a wall of text and like, okay, I've met everyone, and it's very like everybody's copied on everything. So it usually comes down to approvals or that changing animation it makes it funnier. So it's all just different styles of doing things. So yes.
I was going to ask, what's your favorite project and what was your favorite role?
Okay, I'll let you go first.
My favorite role, it's really difficult because so many different roles have very many opportunities, like K-On! Doing the concerts, League of Legends doing the tournaments, hosting the tournaments for IGN, and Madoka Magica just being part of such an amazing series that has... I love that show. I think it's my favorite anime ever. And but I always go to Noelle Vermillion from Blaze Blue because that's a character that keeps coming back. I mean, she was my first big role in a game, and I think it's been 5 years since I was first cast as that character, but she keeps on coming back, and I get to keep recording and see this character grow.
Yeah, I love it when there's recurring characters.
Yeah.
I remember getting to... you guys familiar with Hellsing Ultimate?
Yes.
Yeah. So, being a fan of Hellsing when it first came out, and then working on Hellsing 10 years later, interviewing all the actors and doing special features, like that was surreal. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I've known you people for so long. Oh my gosh, you're so all talking about Hellsing and talking about everybody growing. Like that was very fulfilling. But my favorite project, multiple answers. So my favorite project for working with fans, and getting energy from the fans, would definitely be Hitalia. Like interacting with all the Hitalia fans was great. Really, we got to do like some really amazing stuff with Hitalia. All the voice actors, I remember doing the big reveal at Otakon in a huge room, and Scott Freeman, who plays Britain, it was his first big role that was not Walla. He'd never been to a convention. He had no idea. He was all like, okay, well, I'm going to go on stage and ask some questions, and no one knows who I am. And I just like patted his shoulder, and I was like, oh, honey. Oh, honey. All right, let's go. I brought everybody out one by one, and I brought him out second to last, just to be a jerk. It was a 3,000 person room, and like everyone was screaming, and he gets out there, and he's like, oh God. Because he never knew that his work had that kind of impact, and I love that guy. He's got a brilliant sense of humor. We text each other really awful photos all the time. Because he's just brilliantly twisted. Love him. Everybody in Hitalia is great. They're all just super duper awesome. And the director is great too. And just all explaining the jokes on that was fun. Because sometimes a licensor would be concerned. They're like, you don't have to be that mean to America. You don't have to. It's okay. Or oh no, bring it. So that would be my favorite for the fans. Professionally, I'm really really proud of Summer Wars. I think all of them have a really special place in my heart. I think so many of them. Loved working on One Piece and Dragon Ball Z. Which were also surreal. Had too much fun working on Panty and Stocking. So I got to check the professional box of expensing a stripper pole. That was great.
Awesome.
But I have a couple projects possibly coming up later this year. I can't talk about yet. That. Could be very much could be added to that list. So there's everything has a lot to love, but I'm just I worked on so many shows. It's hard to find one that I didn't like. They were all pretty They were all pretty great. All pretty amazing. My very first title I launched was Dragonaut the Resonance. So, yes. So, that was fun. And then I cosplayed the main character. I cosplayed as Toa. And then I made, my first promo item I made was booty shorts that said Dragonaut on them. So, yeah, when I first orders as a brand manager, I need 1,000 pairs of underpants. Bring it. Get to say Dragonaut on the butt. And then before a graphic designer, she's like, I have to design what? I'm like, don't worry, trust me, they're great. And like they had to be like big booty shorts too. Like they couldn't just be. They could be like the tiny, like the fantasy shorts. Like another brand manager long before me at Funimation made from Shuffle. One of the characters is a god, and and her skirt flies up all the time. So they put in one of the boxes, they had a pair of panties that said God on the front. So like, she made God panties, and they were very much like, they were very tiny. They were like ornamental panties. I'm like, oh, these are not going to fit anybody. And I was like, my Dragonaut shorts, I want everybody to wear it. I want them to be the people's Dragonaut shorts. And, that was fun. But yeah, there's, man, so many things. I had a lot of attachment to Guilty Crown, so yeah, I really like Guilty Crown. I didn't end up launching it because I made the move to Viz, but I left it to my kohai, and she did a great job. So, that was another one that fighting for the songs, like they fought really, really hard for the song.
You really got them?
Nope.
Yeah, it's tough, guys.
And sometimes you'll get into a situation where they'll have the actors record all the songs and send them in for approval, and they'll be all mixed, and they'll be like, well, nope.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. But speaking of like cool stuff, which we have been talking about, another one of my favorite moments was I was at some convention, a big one, probably Otakon, where they had Minori Chihara, the voice of Yuki Nagato. She was doing a concert. And I was there promoting in my Haruhi costume. So one, I got to meet like the president of Pony Canyon, the big recording company there. And two, they're like, hey, can you do Hara Hara Yukai on stage with Minori? Like, yeah. I don't know it, but okay. So me and Carrie, who was Mikuro, we practiced like that day, and we did it, and it was awesome, guys.
Remember it.
Yeah. It was cool. I'm telling you, there was lights.
You never know when you're gonna use those cosplay dance skills again.
I know.
You never know. So learn those Idol Master songs now.
I'm a lady.
Yeah, like to learn all those like little
I know,
awkward
sure.
idol movements. Yeah, he's super moe. Alright, next question.
Yeah.
Oh, in the front.
What was it like going from Season 1 of K-On! With all the heavy promotion from Bandai to Season 2 with Sentai, who did literally no promotion at all?
Well, the thing is about that, we didn't think we were going to get Season 2 at all. So when we got the call, we were very excited about it, and we kind of knew, maybe we wouldn't do the promotion again, but we were just very grateful. We were all so grateful that we can go back in and finish the series. And then they did the movie, and I'm very grateful to Sentai for one, licensing it, and two, getting back the original cast, because they didn't have to. They could have used Texas actors because they're based in Texas, but to reach out to us, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it's another thing that's very difficult getting an original cast together because it's not usually for lack of wanting to. It's like there's various contracts, everything. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's one of those it's on the marketing end. It's one of those little nightmare things that you always try for. And then me being a fan, I'm like, gotta get the band back together. Gotta get the band back together. But especially if it's a long time afterwards. Not everybody is in acting anymore.
We just did Ikitosen. After 10 years, and they got most of the original cast back, and then they added, their new characters. So they got me and Lauren Landa and Jeremy in the show too. So that was pretty cool. I was like, wow, I never thought I'd be in Ikitosen. So it's out now by Funimation.
Yes.
Go back.
Ikitosen. It's more of what you love.
Yeah.
There was a secret trailer for that one. I don't think they ever put it out. That they sometimes the trailer people at Funimation will like make their own vocal tracks, like because they just write music for the trailers, and sometimes they have a little bit of fun with it. There was one like it was scrapped like in an early draft of it, but I remember just like hearing it and just laughing because the background was all shake your butt cheeks, shake your butt cheeks, and it was weird, so you couldn't actually hear the words. But I was, I talked to the sound guy and like isolated the track. And I was like, oh gosh. I was like, can I have an MP3 of that? Yes.
What exactly are the legal bounds for the covers you have done for shows you eventually would go on to work for? Because you did the Don't Say Laser for K-On! Like I think a year or two before you actually started working on it.
Yeah, I for that one, if I'm in a show, I'll usually remove it. But sometimes, I mean, if I get any complaints from the Japanese company, yes, right away. But like I said, I've actually gotten work from my YouTube covers, so it's kind of like this line that I don't really want to comment on because I'm not sure. That's why I kind of stopped doing it, because I'm not really sure about the legal standing of that, and I don't want to offend anybody or overstep a boundary or something. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would your advice be for like a graduating college senior in order to get involved in the industry?
Get the best internship you can in entertainment. That's the thing, like, it doesn't necessarily need to be anime, manga, voice acting related, but usually, entertainment companies like entertainment people, because you need to be brain broken in the right kind of way to do entertainment.
Yep.
And it's not as glamorous as it seems. Like, you're going to work extremely hard. There's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be a lot of nonsensical stuff. But if you're fit for entertainment, like, you can't work anywhere else. Like,
That's really how you know.
Yeah, I could not sell toothpaste. I couldn't do it. I could sell the crap out of anime and games and stuff like that. Because I'm super, I love people who are passionate about the thing I'm selling. And there are no toothpaste conventions. Nobody calls it toothpaste.
Well, unless you count My Little Pony.
Yeah. Well, yes. But I need that interaction between people. Like, that's just me. And I also don't mind, working 12, 16 hours a day. I don't mind it. It doesn't, I don't feel tired. But an internship will teach you, is the culture something that you can be in for a long time? And you may or may not, and you never know until you're there. Like, just being exposed to it is the biggest thing. And entertainment internships aren't what you think. They're not, a good internship is not going to have you going out and getting coffee or getting people's dry cleaning. It's not going to be like Devil Wears Prada. No, an internship is a place where you can learn how business works within entertainment, be exposed to things, just see stuff go down. Barring that, volunteer at conventions with guest relations, see how guests interact, see how the industry interacts, do dealer's room duty, see those things. I mean, before I started at Funimation, I did a lot of contract booth work where I would be a booth manager and I would see how the store ran and just interacting with fans one by one. And I kind of knew from being a stage manager wardrobe that, yep, entertainment's where I'm going to be. That's exactly it. But just, keep trying, because the hardest part about getting into entertainment is getting in.
Yeah, and I just want to say something. We only have 5 minutes left, but this is something that I want you guys to take to heart, especially if you're considering a job in entertainment in any facet, is there's a difference between having a career and a vocation. And a vocation is the thing that you cannot live without doing. And that's really, I feel like maybe that's really the only way that you will make it in entertainment, because there's a lot of heartbreak, guys. I'm not trying to bring you down or anything. I want to lift you up. But I want to prepare you guys that there is a lot of heartbreak. Like we were talking about, you can't get married to a show. You can't love it so much. But there's also a lot of joy in it. And by knowing that that's the thing that you cannot live without doing, that's what gives you the strength to persevere and keep going, and that's what makes it all worth it. So I just want you guys to think about that, and not just about entertainment, but in anything that you love in life, because if you really can't live without doing it, it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, and you can. There's room for all kinds of dreams. Never ever doubt it. Just know that there's a lot of work, and and the work will usually not feel like work. I mean, it's not all, like for me, it's not all like, happy, joy, watch anime, run ads, go to conventions and do stuff, but that's a whole lot of Excel spreadsheets. It's a whole lot of financial analysis. It's a whole lot of, the show that you love is not doing well. What do? Like, how do you how do you let it go sometimes? And knowing your tastes and whether or not your tastes are marketable. Because my personal tastes in anime do not sell. They do not sell here. And I'm okay with it. Because, the greater good is, exposing people to anime. But it's, knowing, how to, put your ego aside. So.
Should we take one more question?
Yeah, another question.
Last question, guys.
Yes.
What would you say, I guess, for someone going into college?
Oh, in a college?
Yeah.
Well,
Like what kind of majors, I guess?
when you're just going into college, definitely take your first year or so to explore a little bit and get exposed to different things. Go for the type of things that appeal to you. I really liked business, but I started out as a music major. Okay, and there were many, many, many evolutions until I got to figuring out okay, that was the thing, condensing that one emotion, that was the thing that I needed to be doing. That ultimately related back to music, but it took many, many years to get to there.
You're in a really exciting place because right now you're going to start discovering what you love. Maybe it's not what you thought. And the important thing about college, it's not your grades, it's not, the classes you took. It's really about finding out what you love and making sure that you make connections with as many people as you can in that same thing. Because those are connections that will probably follow you for the rest of your life.
I say take one weird class every semester that kind of scares you.
Yeah,
That's how you'll grow. I mean, some of the classes that I learned the most from, were just totally off my degree path, and I loved it. But yeah, take something that scares you. Yeah. So, do we have time for one more? We actually have about 3 more minutes. Yes.
Well, actually, I'm the next panel here. If you want to get more people than just one more, go ahead.
You sure? Are you having fun?
I'm
Oh. I just have to say that I might cut out a little earlier because I have to pee. Just being honest with you guys.
You got a cup.
Oh, can I tell a quick funny story?
Yes.
This is about a hangover, my one and only hangover at a convention. I mean ever, but it was at a convention. So me and Chris Kaysen thought it would be fun to drink a lot of tequila.
Oh, well, first of all, you're drinking with Chris Kaysen.
Yeah, and that was my first time. See, I was
It's okay, everyone has a first time, they learn.
Yeah, so I was really hungover the next day, and Chris was on another flight, and I was in the car with Sunny, and he was in the front seat, I was in the back seat, totally sick. Yeah, Sunny's awesome. And so they were talking about, oh, Christina, if you need us to pull over, to take you, if you need to throw up or anything, don't hesitate. And all this time I'm, pounding on the back of his seat, telling him, I just threw up in my mouth. Please pull over. But I couldn't because, of course, I'm So, I had a Starbucks cup. And I threw up in there. But they didn't notice, ever. And I told Sunny, he was like, oh, really? I had no idea. So, guys, don't drink tequila so much.
He's been yelling so many years for Dragon Ball Z, so he might be a little hard of hearing.
That's true. I was really happy because I was a little embarrassed, but now apparently I'm not embarrassed anymore because I just shared it with a group full of people. But I don't know where that story came from. Oh, it came from peeing in a Starbucks cup.
Well, that's the other thing that age as a fan, you lose your you stop giving so many flips. I find that I'm so much happier now because I'm not this little gee, everybody like me.
No, you just have to be yourself, and that's the most important thing. And it sounds so cliche, but it's true. You'll be so much happier if you just let your crazy out.
Yeah, be crazy.
Be crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's
That's another
crazy.
great thing. If you want to work in entertainment, guaranteed you won't be the craziest person in the room.
Twitch. Yes.
I have to ask, with the makeup and the needles, which emo phase is this?
Makeup and the needles.
The thing.
Oh,
Maybe
this-
I'm just blind. Yeah, that.
This, I'm actually, it's not emo, it's more of a It's kind of like not giving any flips. Yeah.
You're punk rock, you do what you want.
Yeah, I do what I want. Yeah. I don't know.
That one.
But I look emo, huh? I'm gonna start talking like this. It might be because all my characters are like emotionally broken. I think I'm trying to starting to manifest that on the outside. Life is hard, guys. Life is so hard. Later. I really have to pee.
Want to do one more before pee time?
Yes.
One more.
Yes.
Make it good enough to hold it. What?
Oh my gosh. Nobody.
Do requests count?
Huh?
Does the request count?
Sure.
Just because I think this would be really funny. Yeah, because I bought this. Can you
It's a
say?
Greek seed.
Yeah, can you say in Homer's voice, "I got a soul badge"?
I got a soul badge. Maruka, stop crying.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I hope we didn't bring you down, but
No, we're bringing you up. We're bringing you up, guys.
Work really, really, really hard, and you can do anything because fandom me 15 years ago would have no idea she'd be up here. Like, you never know, and just keep working towards that goal, no matter what it is. Like the goal of being happy, and if you want to do entertainment, you don't necessarily have to do anime, but keep doing something. Be positive about your fandom.
Do what you love.
And never feel like you have to grow out of anime. You never do. Nope, at all. Like, you can stay a fan forever and, keep watching new things. Challenge yourself with a genre you didn't think you liked. Like, you don't think you like slice of life? Try it. You might like it. You don't think you like gory action? Try a couple. You might like it. You don't think you like fan service? Go for it.
Did you guys have fun?
Yes.
Yes.
You have fun?
Are you gonna go pursue your dreams?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Peace out. Yeah.